Guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. Look at that. I was so excited to be outside with the flowers and the green before I came in. I said, let me put the on the air with some plants back there. What's up, y'all? Good to see you. My goodness, today I've been waiting for this all weekend and watching updates. Come on in, guys. Do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and get a membership if you can. Good to see everybody today. I hope you guys are as energized as I am. Happy Monday. Although I've been, sitting in a chair and doing the thing and getting to work on a Monday, I am always excited to see you guys and, of course, to talk about these true crime cases that this one's mind-blowing for me because it's rare that you're going to get me on here saying, I think the children are alive and this is a hoax. Good to see you guys. What's up? How you doing, Carrie? Thank you for sending me the latest update from 2 hours ago. I am going to put the kids up for a moment just so that you guys can see who's missing and what it is we're talking about. Today, Jack and Lilly, a hoax. Malehya responds, and I have the text messages, polygraphs, and all of this to escape Daniel. What do you guys think? That's what we're talking about today. But of course, we're not just going to talk about it. We're going to show the things that came out. We're going to show the evidence, and we're going to show what people are saying. We're going to show you that. So what's up? Good to see everybody. I think for sure someone is making a hoax. Now, this is a big deal, because if you were to do a hoax and get caught for something, if somebody gets caught for something like this, there's some real repercussions from law enforcement for the money they've spent, the time they spent. However, I say that to lead you into, this is Canada. This is Nova Scotia. This is not in the United States. Absolutely. Jail time and fines and just an outrageous amount to come down on whoever did this. And whoever did this, we have Jack and Lilly missing. Malehya disappeared. Malehya is supposedly on the run, and that's what we're going to talk about. But we're also going to show Daniel how he talks, how controlling that he just may be. So a lot of the interviews, I said something's wrong with Jack and he's inserting himself in this case for a reason. Now, I didn't understand if the reason was because that was because he was in on it and he dumped the children, or something happened to the children, they OD'd, and he got this script together with Malehya. I just couldn't comprehend what it was and what the deal was. Now, people can say, people could not agree, and that's okay. Catherine says they are dead. They are not being taken by the reserve. They are saying this. Do you will leave them alone? I know that you know that we all know it, huh? I'm not sure, and I understand where you're coming from. I see you in chat, and it's great to have an opinion. I don't have opinions like this often on a case like this, and we can't leave them alone because these children are minors and they're missing and something's going on and people are talking. So there's no way that we're just going to stop covering this case. Now, there's a new $150,000 reward out. There's also a ton of text messages from Malehya, from the aunt, from Daniel, okay, which we're going to get into. So I appreciate you guys, and I love that you guys have opinions, but we agree to disagree here. And we don't say, hey, you're being ridiculous. Shut your mouth. You can say, hey, you're being ridiculous. I feel this way. But we don't want to insult anybody, okay? So there's 111 people in chat. Please stop and say a prayer that Jack and Lily get brought home safe, and that whoever is responsible for the children either being not alive or being taken and hidden, that they get that justice that they deserve. Okay. Now, yeah, exactly. Carol, I don't care. I do care what happened to them. I want them to be found and I want justice to be served. But let's get into this. Let's just hit it hard, guys. Now that you're in, come on in. Do me a favor. I've said this from day one. If they're missing due to being out in the woods or due to the parents hiding something or scripting something, then they're no longer alive. But I'm going to jump right into this and show you what I'm talking about. This cannot be ignored. This video, this evidence, none of this can be ignored by anybody. And if you ignore it, then, well, guess what? You're not really a true crime. You're not a content creator, and you're going from what you feel. I'm going from what I feel, and I'm a content creator, and this cannot be ignored. So I'm going to jump in right with this. Mother's dark secret revealed. What happened to Jack and Lily? We're going to just jump right into this and listen up.
Okay? I know exactly what happened to the kids. The kids are alive. The kids are probably not in Nova Scotia now, but the kids are safe. The kids are being taken care of by...
The province of Nova Scotia is offering a reward of up to $150,000 for any information relating to the two siblings who were reported missing last month. 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing from their home on May 2nd in Lansdowne Station in Pictou County.
All right, so
welcome, Mob Crew family.
I took this from the Mob because he edited it real nice. I do have the original, but I want you to get bam, bam, bam. I want you to see what I'm seeing, and then you could make up your opinion if this information can really be ignored. All right, I can't ignore it. I just can't. Now, I'd be a fool to say I'm going to ignore this and say the children are not alive anyway. And that has been my stance up until this weekend.
Been missing for over 7 weeks now, and it appears things in this case could be ramping up. Recently, a man that is allegedly related to the family claims he knows that the kids are still alive, and claims that the mother Malehya was the one who had the kids removed. And on top of that, recently the RCMP announced a huge reward of $150,000.
Now, again, we've covered this case from day one, and when I see Malehya, when I see her in this interview and the little bit of emotion that she has, and I go back, just like Deception Detective, I'm glad he saw the video. Hopefully he saw my video and posted what Malehya was like before her spirits were broken and before she had postpartum and so many children that she had. Okay, so I've seen all of it. I've let it process. I've looked at it. I've laid it out, and just it can't be ignored what is happening at this point. And I think that Daniel is very controlling. I'm going to show that next, and I'm going to show you why I think that this is possibly a hoax. I'm going to show you by what police are saying and by what police aren't saying. All right, so let's get into it.
For information leading to the siblings. So a big question many may have is the timing of this reward connected with what this Darren guy is claiming? He has since shared more details about what he claims to be going on with the siblings. But is this all true? And what about...
And why would anybody say that or interject themselves into this? And there's a lot of people. There's the aunt interjecting. There's this guy that's all over every freaking social media. You know, it's on a criming shame, man. It's on Shanitra Speaks, and it's on Dolly, and it's on Mob Crew. It's everywhere. These people are calling in, and they're using these social media platforms to interject themselves into this story, including that Malehya ran away. But when I use my own logic and reason, I also see something darker behind the scenes with Malehya and Daniel, and it's a possibility. I've got so much more to show you.
About the reward, here's his latest interview with YouTube channel, A Criming Shame.
There you go.
I can't say who they are, and I can't really say what they told me, but it's ironclad. It's 1,000% true, okay? I know exactly what happened to the kids. The kids are alive. The kids are probably not in Nova Scotia now, but the kids are safe. The kids are being taken care of by, I'm sure, by Malehya's native people. My number one goal, if we could get those kids back alive, that would have been it. Knowing what I found out today through CPS.
All right, so he's saying what he found out through CPS. This is an uncle. This is a relative. I have the text message that talk about a little bit of everything. And then we have Daniel. Daniel is not only doing interviews with anybody and everybody, but he's going on to social media accounts or social media platforms like Dolly, and he's talking. All right. So all of this is all family members interjecting themselves into this. You just can't ignore it.
And the information that I found out from this person, and believe me, it's ironclad. It's 1,000%.
Now, I agree he's sus. I am not taking this man's word that just came out of left field. Trust me, we're trying to process this, and I'm going to show you what 2 hours ago the news came out with and what Daniel's interview says and how he says it. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
The kids are alive, and somebody has them that's taking care of them. Meadow is in custody of CPS, and they're going to decide where Meadow goes. Jack and Lily, I'm telling you, they're alive, and I'm sure they're being protected by the Native community, probably not the Native community in Shubenacadie. And they may not even be in Canada. Now, that's what I know, and there's a big difference between what I know and what I think. So I just told you what I know. If I turn out to be wrong, the source that informed me this afternoon, then I'll fully expose it, because this source is very important, very in the know, very heavy, right in the middle.
So this Darren guy is claiming three major things: that allegedly the kids are alive, the mother Malehya...
Yeah, we're going to break this down, guys, and this is not the only clip. I'm not saying, hey, believe this guy. This is not what I'm saying to you at all. But all around, whether it's a hoax for the children being unalived, maybe they passed away and they were put somewhere, the RCMP is not treating this as a search for children that are not alive in the woods, because they're not doing the cadaver dogs. They're not. You're going to hear in a bit, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. But listen to this, and then we'll take a look at the text messages, and we'll talk about the polygraph and what Malehya took a polygraph and passed. And if she didn't pass, why isn't she arrested?
Is on the run, and that the 1-year-old baby Meadow is in CPS custody. Now, this all began coming out within the past few days of making this video. Around that same time, on June 19th, the RCMP released a huge reward of $150,000 just before the 7-week mark. I wondered if this was a coincidence and they received some kind of intel, or did they hit a dead end and decided to get more help from the public? So I did some research and found out some interesting details. Although RCMP has been pretty silent about this case likely being a criminal investigation, during the past week there is something I discovered, something which I believe could reveal that they really could be onto something. So I went back through all RCMP statements and found this one posted on June 11th. Here they mention the latest details in the investigation, including many different agencies involved in the investigation, including child services.
And I want you guys to decide for yourselves by the end of this episode when I say this is a hoax. All right. I want this guy interjected himself and he's called almost every single media platform or every single YouTuber, right? We've got the original source it came from was Joseph Morris, probably somebody you never heard of 2 days ago, that has 500,000-600,000 subscribers. And then he called into Dolly, and then he called into a crime and shame. Why is he interjecting himself, and why is he interjecting himself now? Why is Daniel saying Malehya's on the run? And why is Malehya texting about Daniel putting her in the spotlight and her aunt saying all of these things, saying, why is Daniel blaming it on you? All of this is happening simultaneously. Every YouTuber except me, Deception Detective, says, which I'm going to lead into DD's next. Now, I'm not saying I believe this family member that's interjecting himself, but I want you to make your decision whether you think it's a hoax as far as Daniel and Malehya know what happened and those kids' bodies are buried somewhere, whether it's a hoax and Malehya wanted to get away from Daniel because he's controlling. You can decide what you think. And yes, I would love for them to go to you, DD, but I have a feeling that he doesn't want to go to you because he thinks you're going to automatically say you're hoaxing me. I don't know. I don't know, though, but that's what we're going to get into.
AKA CPS. They also mention the hundreds of hours of surveillance footage they collected and are requesting more, that they have interviewed 54 people and even performing polygraph tests and the nearly 500 tips received. Now keep all this in mind as I move to the next big clue.
For a lot of people, this story just sounds odd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, this was the latest coverage from the CBC News outlet.
And we're going to play that with DD, the video that just came out next. You got to watch what he says. You got to wonder, why is Daniel calling? Why is he calling Dolly? Why is he calling, reaching out to YouTubers? What is his motive in trying to get ahead of this? Why is he on all the news stations? Why does he need you to believe that? And you're absolutely right, Angry Rabbit. He is absolutely, in my opinion, attacking Malehya's character. I think so too. And I just can't understand why he's doing it so publicly. Is he mad because she left him and broke up and took the baby? What's his motivation? Is it because he knows the children are gone and he wants to point the finger at her?
Where they did an interview with the stepfather Daniel and even went to the RCMP for an official statement. Now let's look at when this video by CBC News and their article were released. As you can see in this YouTube video, it was uploaded on June 19th. And if we look at the article from the CBC News, it too was released on the same day, June 19th.
I'm going to show that
the same
after.
day, the RCMP would announce the big $150,000 reward. Now, usually with these kinds of story segments by news outlets, when they are conducting multiple interviews with family members and law enforcement, it typically means it was done a day or two prior to the actual release. That way, they can edit the video and produce an article on their website.
Right. And I'm going to pull that up later after we get through all the madness of this. I've always pointed at the mother, Malehya, but what is she hiding? Why is she hiding? Why is she talking? And why are the text messages getting out to us YouTubers? Is there any possible reason or why they should be getting out to us? Why do I have a bunch of text messages in between them? What do they want out of this? Yeah, DD's in chat and his video is coming up next.
So here is my point. You have a major news outlet that is covering the Sullivan case, conducting a big interview with the stepfather, and also going to the RCMP to get a statement for their story, most likely a day prior to the announcement of the big reward. And here is the statement from the RCMP at that time.
At the time, we have a new one today.
It's quite rare that in my career, I've never seen two missing children go at the same time.
Was anything found in any of these searches that was deemed to be of significance? Even if you can't tell me what it was, anything of significance?
So I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing and that we haven't found any evidence to show that there was an abduction of the children.
So you don't think they were abducted?
So no evidence of an abduction, no evidence to think that their bodies are out in the woods, so they're not using the dogs out there. But today they broke their silence. Okay, this was from them a couple of days ago and off from this weekend. Today they broke their silence. So stay here with me until I show you everything before you decide who's who, what's what, and why is this information getting into YouTubers' hands, even including me? What, why?
But you can't find them. How do two young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information. That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information.
So my question here, and the big clue I'm trying to point out is, if they were stuck and the leads had grown cold, and you now have a big news outlet coming to get a statement, which I'm sure they were notified in advance, why wouldn't they have announced the reward information during this interview, which again was likely conducted a day prior on June 18th? But now you have a guy allegedly close to the family who is claiming that the kids are alive and were likely moved somewhere, and during this time we get the announcement of the reward. Again, the timing of all this is very interesting. Here's a bit more from Darren explaining why Malehya allegedly removed the kids and what she was.
All right, so I'm trying to answer all these questions. We're 20 minutes in, and most of my episodes are about an hour and a half. So I'm trying to pack as much information so you guys know what's happening, how it's happening, why Malehya's changed her behavior. Why was it so important for her to tell the world that she's single? Has she been trying to get away from Daniel? Some of those text messages might just answer that question for you.
Was going through.
Young girl, she's very mild-mannered, very impressionable, and she's had a rough go of it. Not so much with Daniel. Their relationship was a lot better than the relationship they had before. She had a really rough go of it. As far as I'm concerned, she had some damage, she had some PTSD, she had depression, and she probably had postpartum depression. I can't diagnose because I'm a man. But she definitely had some issues. A young girl in her situation wanted out of there that was looking at it like she just couldn't stand the situation anymore. She just wanted to change her life, okay? But yet she's very soft, very mild-mannered, not aggressive, no real power, no real ability to walk out of that totally herself, okay? And then she reached out to family with her complaints, and she had some friends around her that were her age that were semi-related. By semi-related, I mean to in my family and in her heritage, they had a couple different fathers, like stepfathers, and then the native thing came into it, stuff like that. So she had some.
So this is a family insider. We would have to go back and show you a connection, but trust me, when I'm telling you, this guy is a family insider, whether he's lying or not. Why isn't he copying DD? And Susan Wagner, shout out to you. This is a live and you made your live. Next, we're going to see how DD handles hoaxers and why they may not reach out to him. Now, hoaxers are typically hustlers, and typically I don't believe in a hoax of two children that I think are no longer alive. All right. So I'm not saying I believe this story by any means, but there's got to be a truth somewhere in between. Daniel and Malehya were there at the time. Daniel's changed his story several times, and Malehya we've only heard from once. So we only can go by what we hear.
Girls, and they were all girls. I want you to think about a group of young girls trying to get their friend out of trouble.
So Darren explains that Malehya had friends help her remove Lilly and Jack the morning of May 2nd, while Daniel was allegedly asleep. Darren is also claiming that Malehya is now on the run and that the baby Meadow is in CPS custody. He also states that the kids could be in the States.
These kids could have gone through the big reserve in Ontario. I have a hard time saying it. The one that borders Canada and the United States. I say 99% the kids are with natives. And I want the cops to move your goddamn fat arses, you sons of it. Get on the goddamn move. It's been 7 weeks. You guys have the resources. If you got to break the law, if you got to pull some strings, whatever you got to do, go find these goddamn kids. And I'm talking.
So here is my final thoughts on this crazy situation. If what Darren is saying is the truth, I would think we should hear some kind of updates from either the news outlet or family members in the coming days, especially if the mother is actually on the run and baby Meadow is in CPS custody.
Exactly, guys. Don't ever just take something at face value, okay? Never look at something and say, oh, I can see what that is because I see right through it. No, no, no. You got to take what you hear and put it in categories, compartmentalize it for yourself, and use your own brain. All right. So that's what we're getting to right now. I never came on and said, I believe this guy and the kids are fine. They're safe. This guy said this. Absolutely not. I'm taking all of these interviews and all this information, adding it up, and then going to tell you what's happening. All right. And RCMP is going to tell you what's happening, but more of what's not happening. All right. We're getting to that next.
Custody. Allegedly, there has been posts in live chats by Daniel claiming this is true, but this leaves a lot of questions for Daniel if true, such as why did he lie about seeing Lilly if they were already gone earlier that morning? If you would like to hear more about how allegedly the mother Malehya took the kids that morning, please check out this video.
All right, we're not going to do that. I do have a video that Daniel talks about her running away. He absolutely does say that, but I'm going to save that for after because I want you to see this while Deception Detective is here. He's still in chat. I'd like to show you his video that just came out, well, a few minutes before I got home. So maybe like an hour ago. All right, worst interview yet. I was going to go over this and pick it apart myself because I didn't have the 10-minute, but here we go. Now listen up. All right, now you guys got to get your paper out and write down your thoughts.
I didn't kill Lilly and Jack.
It's been 6 weeks now since you've seen Lilly and Jack. I just want to ask, how are you holding up?
Yep,
it's been,
I agree,
from sadness to anger at this point. And I know the RCMP and major crimes are working around the clock trying to piece everything together, and I'm grateful for that. But it always leaves the question, 6 weeks has gone by, and we know at this point they're not in the woods. And where are they?
That's the stepfather of 2 missing Nova Scotian children, and I agree. He knows the truth. He didn't kill them, and they're not in the woods. So in today's video, let's watch the rest of Daniel's.
And right after DD hops off, I'm going to show you what the RCMP update was. Well, now 3 hours ago, and you can say, why are they not addressing this? Why didn't they say this? Why haven't they done this? Now, I think this guy that's supposed to be a family insider, I think that he has a motive to keep us looking elsewhere, but I don't know why. Now, it's not even his real name. The first name he came out with was not the same name that he is having now. So why did he do that? I'd like him to go to DD and tell him why he did that.
BBC interview and see what else he reveals. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. If that's your thing, it's a reason I can say I honestly agree with everything he said in that clip, but I still think he has guilty knowledge. When he said he knows the truth about his guilt or innocence, I believe him, but I think he was omitting the fact that he knows who is guilty. When he said he didn't kill Lilly and Jack, I believe that too, but I think he's omitting the fact that he knows how they died. Finally, when he said he knows the kids aren't in the woods around his house, I think that's because he's omitting the fact that he has a very good idea of where they actually are. All right, without further ado, let's watch.
I know the truth. I didn't kill Lilly and Jack.
It's been 6 weeks now since you've seen Lilly and Jack. I just want to ask, how are you holding up?
It's been a long 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Attention is the number one thing. And attention is also what Daniel wants. Daniel can't keep off of social media. Daniel's also going to Dolly. And so is this other guy. This other guy started at a YouTuber that had 600,000 subscribers that none of us ever probably listen to because he doesn't go live. He doesn't discuss this. He put out a 9-minute video with the wrong name. The guy didn't even have the Darren, the D guy, Darren the hoaxer, supposedly didn't even give the right name. So if you're not going to give the right name, what are you hiding behind? All right. Synth, thank you for the $2 super sticker. 429 likes gets us 50 free memberships. I do have a members only coming up this week. So please just hit the like button. It's free.
I know that everybody
Yep.
basically in the world at this point is always wanted to know like what happened. It's been from sadness to anger at this point. And I know the RCMP and major crimes are working around the clock trying to piece everything together. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But it always leaves the question, 6 weeks has gone by, and we know at this point they're not in the woods.
I know. I
And
see it.
where are they?
Did you feel in the beginning that they suspected you?
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
You felt that from the beginning,
Yeah.
but you don't feel that now.
No, I don't feel that at all. I asked for the lie detector exam, the polygraph exam. I gave them my phone.
And this is where it gives him some control over the case, because he's, like he said, he's the only one out there searching. He's the only one out there giving media interviews, and he's the only one, he's making it seem like he's the only one doing anything. Now, he does focus on the polygraph, and he also says Malehya took the polygraph, but he doesn't know if she passed it.
I told him I do drug tests because there's a lot of rumors online about a drug party. I know the person that said those rumors, and it was just to take the heat off themselves.
Was there any kind of party?
No.
Was there any kind of gathering that someone might have thought was a party?
No.
There were no people at the house?
No, not the night before.
Okay, you mentioned you offered to take a polygraph test.
Yeah.
Did the RCMP take you up on that?
Yes, they did.
And how did that unfold?
Before we get into this next part about the polygraph, I want to point out one glaring omission already in this interview. And that's the fact that Daniel never said he's innocent. Instead, like a lawyer with a guilty client who doesn't want to lie to the judge, he's dropping all these breadcrumbs of circumstantial evidence without doing the easiest, most obvious thing to do if you're actually innocent. Say, I'm innocent. Remember, for context, expecting an innocent person who's being falsely accused of doing something wrong to simply declare their innocence is a very low threshold. So the fact that Daniel hasn't met it in any of the interviews I've seen so far is a giant red flag. Let's keep watching.
Now, can I tell you guys something before we go even further? Anybody that interjects themselves into a case, especially of this magnitude, now it doesn't even matter. Listen, it doesn't matter that Darren the hoaxer, that may be a hoaxer, that may be pointing us away from what really happened. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what's happening in the case. RCMP is investigating every lead, and they're dispelling things on social media. So I do want you to know that this carries jail time. In the United States, this carries jail time and fines. All right. Now, the jail time can be up to a year or more, and the fines can be astronomical. So I'm wondering if the attention that, we'll call him Darren the hoaxer for right now. We'll call him that because we don't know if it what to give him at this point, how much attention. We're giving him just a few minutes of attention. Many channels are weighing heavily, but law enforcement doesn't take kindly to Daniel getting this attention and saying 3 different stories, and us not Darren the hoaxer either. It's unacceptable when you point law enforcement to spend time elsewhere. All right. Now, Didi says he's such a hoaxer, we don't even know which name to call him. And you're right. I don't know what name to call him because he used a false name the first time around. How do I know that it's real now? I haven't done a background check on Darren the hoaxer, and that's what I'm calling him.
You offered to take a polygraph test?
Yeah.
Did the RCMP take you up on that?
Yes, they did.
And how did that unfold?
That unfolded in my favor.
Oh.
They obviously know I wasn't lying about anything.
So they said, "Yeah, great, thank you. Come in for a polygraph test."
Yeah, it took a little while to set up. And
when did you do that test?
I don't know the exact date, but that would be
shout out, Stella.
At least 3 weeks ago, probably.
So roughly 3 weeks after the disappearance.
Yeah.
And I think most Canadians wouldn't have any idea what's involved with that. Can you describe the process? You go in and just tell us right from the start.
We go in, sit down in a big comfy chair, and they
now Daniel is very confident at this point. I think he's almost overconfident with the text messages and going on Dolly and taking this polygraph test. Now, this guy Darren Geddes is his name, or Geddes, but he also used the name Dillinger. there was a Dillinger name that he threw out there. So I only knew by the first name, and now they found out what his real name is. Why is he putting out fake names, but he's so sure? Yeah, I agree, but I also thought that a polygraph test would only be used if they found suspicion. Look at how arrogant almost and confident. I don't know if arrogant and confident go together, but Daniel looks very relaxed in this video.
You have multiple sensory pads. You have them underneath your forearms, you have them underneath your butt, and you have them underneath your feet with your shoes off. You have a sweat gland on one finger. You have a measuring instrument for blood flow that goes in and out of your hand. And you have a cuff on your arm for blood pressure to measure your pulse.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was extremely nervous.
You're not now.
Especially with the first question they asked you, did you kill Lilly and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's confident now.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when someone's asking you that question so
kind of
point-blank
is.
like that?
Your mind has a massive release of chemicals, I guess you would call them. Just, it's like your stress levels just astronomically through the roof, and your body doesn't know what to do.
We need Jack and Lilly home.
Because it's not every day the way you're hooked up to machines in an interrogation room where someone asks you questions like that.
What other kinds of questions did they ask you?
All the questions pertain to the death of Lilly and Jack. Are you accessory to the murder of Lilly and Jack? They were all
interesting.
So all of the questions assumed that the children are no longer alive.
Yeah.
There were no questions at all about, did you take them somewhere? Could they be somewhere?
Wait, what, DD? You my video showing his YouTube channel? Wait, what? I'm not sure. Use my video showing his YouTube channel, Jay. All right, use my video showing the YouTube channel. Which YouTube channel are you referring to? Huh. Okay, I'll look right now while I'm playing this.
No.
The police have done a number of polygraph tests. They've done 53 formal interviews. Do you know who these people are?
Yeah.
That's a lot of interviews.
It is a lot of interviews. A lot of them are my family, people who live in the area. And those interviews, typically, my interview was 4 hours. And a lot of the interviews from my family were 1-2 hours. So there's a lot of.
Okay, you want me to show your YouTube video? Or the YouTube video, you mean? Deception Detective? Can you guys drop the link for Deception Detective? Malehya says she's addicted to tattoos in her old YouTube video. Oh, yes, he's clearly addicted to Pokemon in his one. Yes, the addicts. Yes, I saw that, DD, and I was like, oh my goodness. DD must have saw the old Malehya video, and then you found that. Yes, okay, I'll pull that out. I got you. We'll play that real quick after this.
Time taken up and they ask detailed questions.
Do you know who else actually took a polygraph test?
I mean, I do, but I'm not going to say anything that's going to impede the investigation.
Okay. When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job, you passed.
There's lots of problems here, like the fact that he used the definite article about the murder of Lilly and Jack as if he knows it's a real thing, or how he described everything in third person. You do this, you feel that, as if he wasn't actually describing things that he personally experienced. But my biggest problem with this part of the interview is just that's not how polygraph tests typically work. There's a pre-interview where they get the subject's baseline, there's the polygraph exam itself, and then there's arguably the most important part of the entire process, and that's where you deliver the results to the subject and see how they react. So when Daniel said that the first question they asked him was whether or not he killed Lilly and Jack, that just can't be the case. And it's either because he's editing out a lot of stuff or because the CBC producers instructed him to jump straight to that part. I'm not quite sure. Whatever.
Right. He's emphasizing in that entire video that he's right. He's confident, but he also throws shade at Malehya heavily when he says she took a polygraph. I'm not supposed to say it, but I don't know. I mean, he projects a lot and he throws a ton of shade at Malehya. Now, there's 555 people in chat. If you don't like the way I present true crime, then don't hit the like button. But if you do and you want to see the content that I come up with, please just hit the like button. RCMP did an update, and I'm gonna give that to you. But I want you to see the video of Malehya quickly, and how she says she's addicted to tattoos is how he says he's addicted. I did see that to the Pokemon cards, and I'm glad you dug that up, DD. All right, if you just got here, hit that like button. Then we're gonna, rest in peace, Pokemon. That reminds me of Stephen Stearns and the cards and the toys and the things, and I want to know more.
For the case, his entire description of his polygraph experience is unusually vague and bizarre. And I suspect, once again, that's because he's omitting any part of that story that might make him look bad. And there were probably lots of parts of that experience that made him look bad. Let's keep going.
When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job. You passed.
Confident bastard.
And how did that feel?
Good.
And did you feel that there was any further suspicion on you after that point, or was that sort of conclusive?
No, that was really when I seen the turning point for it starting to taper off with investigators.
Do you know if Malehya has taken one?
I don't know if I can say it, but I will.
All right, here you go. I don't know if I can say it, but I will anyway. And I'm going to throw fucking shade at Malehya. That's how strong I feel about this. I feel about every interview. And it didn't add up with me until this weekend when everything started coming out. No, I didn't believe the hoaxer guy that I don't even know his name, but it did give context to some things. And it made me wonder, why do I feel this guy is guilty and about what? And thank you, Mo, so much for becoming a member. He absolutely thinks he's a celebrity. And I believe that he's out there trying to get the attention of the next lady that he'd like to bring in. I really do. Now, that's just a part of it. But he's also trying to make himself look better and throw shade at Malehya, which next you're going to see. We're going to throw a little shade at him.
Anyway, yes, she did take one.
Okay, she took one. Do you know the result?
No.
She took one, but I can't say.
You said you feel like everyone in the world wants to know what happened to Lilly and Jack.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is getting so much attention?
Well, just the mysterious and nature of everything and how strange everything is.
Yeah, it is strange.
You know, I mean, they have to keep a tight lip on everything, but there's a lot more that meets the eye with the case.
Earlier in this series, I analyzed another interview of Daniel and said that he's acting like a celebrity, someone who thinks he has fans out there watching him. And based on his answer here, I think he really does think.
And he really does, DD. He really does, DD. I have the clip where he went on to Dolly. That was clipped, and he's on there talking like he's the man. He's got ladies in chat probably rooting him on. I mean, that's the kind of guy that I see him to be. Just because he talks low and slow, he knows what he's doing. All right. This is just, it's taking the focus off of the children, in my opinion. But who's hoaxing who?
I think that he's a celebrity. I think he's enjoying the attention he's getting. And I think that will be his downfall because people like me are watching. I'll link that video on the end card as well as my Lilly and Jack playlist if you want to continue analyzing this.
And we do, DD. I'm going to drop the next one real quick just because you're right. It's important to go back and see these people. I didn't look for Daniel. I wanted to see Malehya because she doesn't talk. She never talks. She keeps quiet. She's hiding. Is she on the run? I don't know. And Sherlock Holmes, thank you for being a member for 1 month. You say my favorite channel. I appreciate that. All right, listen, we're going to start here. They used to be so talkative. Look at young Daniel with his Pokemon card packs and Malehya, like I showed you 10 years ago. I wouldn't say poor Dolly. Dolly's raking in those subscribers. So good for Dolly. Raking them in, boy. All right.
The channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For
You gotta watch
exclusives and other
this.
cool perks, join the channel. Link in description. My series about Malehya and Daniel's children has a match.
Okay, let's get to you past this part. And we don't want her. We want this.
Let's move on to the other two people I want to feature in this video, Malehya and Daniel. As you're about to see, both sound relatively normal and talkative in their YouTube videos, which makes their recent silence and reticence about finding their missing children all the more bizarre. On the off chance that you're watching this and don't know who they are, what I mean by that is that Malehya, the mother of the missing children, has only done one public appearance about their disappearance. And the bulk of that brief appearance was to establish her and Daniel's alibi.
And she had no emotion. So when I went back and looked for her, I was like, I need to see her personality before this. Now, Indy, I don't know why Malehya is doing anything she's doing, but I do think she's being protected by the reservation. They can't go on there. They're not going on there. They haven't named anybody as a suspect. There's no charges. All right. Now, you say they literally can't stop talking in their old videos. Yes, that's what I was trying to show the other day when I had Malehya. I showed 2 videos and another one popped up later. And I'm like, why is she talking so much? Why is she so happy? What the heck beat her down? Or what is she on? What DRUGs is she on? What breakdown did she have? I'm going to leave that up there. You're right. Let's watch this.
Which is very unusual. She hasn't made any appearances asking for help finding them or encouraging searchers to keep looking, or even to bring attention to the new $150,000 reward for tips that might lead to their discovery. So let's compare her recent stoicism about her missing children to this YouTube video posted 10 years ago.
Hi guys, it's Malehya. Apparently, it's more of like an about me video. So that, I don't know, because since I'm getting into this YouTube thing, I just thought it'd be more appropriate to know about me. So yeah, so things that you should know about me is that I'm tattoo addicted. I love tattoos, and they're, well, I don't plan on having too many tattoos, but I just want quite a few. I have quite a few animals. I don't know the number at the moment, but I will tell you their names.
Now, listen, she's also putting more energy into talking about her tattoos and what she's going to do than she ever has. I got to say that about her too, DD. And that's why this is so important. Right after this clip, guys, I'm going to show you what police are telling us about the children 3 hours ago. Okay, it's going to be new RCMP. It's not always what they say. You got to listen to what they're not saying as well.
And what kind of animal they are. A horse. It's a Percheron horse, and her name is Raven. I used to have another horse, and he was an Appaloosa, but he had to get put down. His name was Dandy. Now I plan on getting a tattoo that resembles him. Also, I have...
Not the same person I see today. That's for
sure. Can't think right now. I have...
Yeah, it was.
Golden Retriever dog named Kavai. He looks like a monk right now because we had to shave his head because he got hot spots. And if you want to know what hot spots is, look it up on the internet. I have a little Shih Tzu named Gabriella. She's really...
It's almost like a different person. Now, I know this is when she's 16 years old, and I showed this the other day, but it gives you a good idea of what her personality's like and why is she so beat down. It's really weird. People say, why isn't she going to the cops about Daniel? Why isn't she going to the cops about the kids and working with her kids? She just disappeared. Why?
She's something else. This cat named Mittens. He's got no tail and he's just Mittens.
Yeah.
That's enough of that. Now let's move on to Daniel. And one last thing before we do. Daniel, if this is in fact your YouTube channel, you can contact me from it and we can talk. I've seen you say in plenty of interviews that you're upset with what people say about you and Malehya on social media. So I'll reiterate the offer I made to you in one of my very first videos in this series. If you do an interview with me and I'm satisfied with your answers, I will be your biggest advocate.
Go do it,
You
Daniel.
can contact me by posting to my YouTube channel community from this YouTube account.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and if you like Pokemon content, feel free to subscribe and like this video.
All right, so this is Daniel. We're looking back at his now, and you know the problem, Ron Johnster, is that we can't know about people's medical history, which is a good thing, and sometimes it sucks for us, right? We can't know about their medical history. We're not allowed to pull it. There's laws against that. We don't know. it would be nice if we would have heard about, hey, I've got postpartum and whatever, but we haven't heard shit from Malehya. We heard a little bit. She sounds like she has no personality, and it's just gone. Like, she's not even the same person anymore. Why? I don't know.
I got a good video for today, and it looks like we're going to be doing not just one, but two Detective Pikachu boxes.
Thank you. That's Daniel.
Well, without further ado, let's get into them, I guess. These come with 4 promo cards. One beautifully sculpted to head.
He's definitely into these Pokemons, and she's into her animals. She talks about Wiccan and all that. Now, Emily Jane, thank you for giving me your opinion and the $20 super chat. I am looking at this case in a different way as well. At first, I was like, these kids aren't alive anymore. And then I start to see more things and more things come out. And it makes me wonder if that's what happened. Nobody ever expects Jen Soto, Stephen Stearns. None of these people expect this to blow up internationally, right? They never in a million years would have thought this happened. All right. So let's keep going. Thank you so much. This is Daniel. Back in the day, I don't know how many years ago, was this 7 years ago? Daniel talking about his Pokemon cards.
Detective Pikachu figure standing on a magnificent magnifying glass. How nice.
Anyone can change their YouTube handle, avatar, and even thumbnails, but the voice in that video sounded like Daniel. The image in the thumbnail looks like him, and it was posted 5 years ago. For more like this, like, comment, and share. Until next time, stay true.
All right, so we look back. Let's look forward and fast forward to today. All right, it's always important for context to understand how people work, what they're about, what they like. It's called profiling. So we want to profile these people and understand what's happening. And the more I profile, the more I go back and the more I see what's happening, the more I start to think this is a hoax. But what is the hoax? Let's keep going.
We don't have evidence to suggest that.
Okay, so this is today, and this is 3 hours ago today, and this is what RCMP starts to say. This is a new update. So if you're not in chat, get back here. If you stopped listening, get back here and listen for the update. It's right here. All right.
An abduction took place at this time.
Is it something you're still investigating, whether or not they could have been abducted?
So we're exploring.
Okay, he's saying he doesn't have evidence that they've been.
We don't have evidence to suggest that an abduction took place at this time.
Is it something you're still investigating, whether or not they could have been abducted?
So we're exploring all investigative avenues. So on the morning of May 2nd, approximately 10 a.m., RCMP officers received a call about 2 missing children in Lansdowne Station. The information at the time was that they wandered off away from the property. And I can tell you that our officers got at the scene very quickly. And we were monitoring the situation and hopefully finding the children very soon after that.
So it's very quickly. Officers arrive, and then what? You expected, it sounds like you're saying that you'd find the children quickly, or hoped you would anyways. That didn't happen.
So Kayla, what I can tell you, from experience, you look at missing children. I've been involved with a handful of cases since I've been with Strategic Communications. Most oftentimes, the children are located very quickly after officers arrive at the scene, right? And that's our hope every single time, that they wandered off and you can find the children. Because I'm sure, like every officer out there, I'm not on the road currently, but your heart is pounding, the adrenaline is rushing, you're trying to find those children, right?
This case started just like that?
That's
what you're
correct.
Describing, you thought you'd go there, find them very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And our officers were nearby in an ongoing search for a kayaker that had gone missing the day prior. So, and I can tell you I was monitoring the situation remotely. And our officers, I could tell they were getting there as quickly as possible.
There are some, as you are aware, many theories out there. Some people think, well, maybe it's really just
I love that the police came out today on a Monday and are giving us an update. I'm going to show you the other update that says polygraphs, a blanket, and a boot print, new details of the investigation, and those text messages that I say you have to take with a grain of salt. I don't know what's real and what's not, and how the frick are these channels getting these text messages? Why in the world would somebody's freaking aunt or somebody's freaking distant hoax relative come on to a YouTube platform and give all this insider information? What for? What good is that going to do in the investigation? Unless they're doing this. Malehya's doing this. Daniel's doing this. Now, Malehya is talking in the text messages. I know we haven't seen her in interviews other than the one, but she spoke loud and clear when she went back on the social media and posted single to make sure everybody knew. And then in these text messages, they speak volumes. Again, take them with a tiny grain of salt because I don't know where they came from. They say they came from Malehya and her aunt, but I don't know.
The tragic accident. Maybe they just wandered off into the woods. But you've said that it's suspicious. So at the very least, why does the RCMP view this case as suspicious?
Possibly.
So every missing person's investigation is suspicious until it's proven that it's not. You know, if we don't have that information to say that it's not suspicious, we have to continue to assume that it is suspicious and access those resources and tools and follow up those tips and find that evidence until we find the people that are missing.
So you don't think they were abducted, but you can't find them. How do 2 young children just vanish?
Yes.
That's a great question, Kayla.
Great.
And we are asking for the public for tips and information. And to date, we've received close to 500 tips. So we have to follow up on those tips, right? Whether it's a tip that indicates.
So listen, do you think these guys are getting tips from the public calling RCMP and saying, hey, there's this guy that's name is Dillinger. Wait a minute. No, it's not Dillinger. It's whatever the new name is, Darren Geddes. This Darren Geddes came on. I was watching this show, RCMP, and this guy said the kids are safe on the reservation. Go get them. Go to that reservation and go get those kids. Do you think that they probably got a good 100 leads saying that they see text messages between the aunt and Malehya saying that Malehya's on the run? Because I'm telling you right now, Daniel is saying Malehya's on the run. And this Darren hoax guy that we don't know if a hoax, do you think that any of these things are coming into police tips? I'm sure they are. There's no way that we're getting tips here on YouTube, but they're not calling into RCMP and telling them that this family member named Geddes called in and said, go check the damn reservation. Now, why don't they just go check the damn reservation? Why don't they drive out there, then walk over there and say, hey, we're here. We need to check. We heard the kids are here. Let's go. Or go to the reservation and say, we heard you took them out of the country. Let's go. Do you think that these are going in? All right. We only need 74 likes for us to give 50 memberships, guys. You're going to want that. And you're going to want a chance to win a Bluetooth Guilty of Crime tumbler, which I'll show you at the end.
It's that there could be something
but you got to hit
elsewhere in the province, elsewhere in the country. We have to follow up on those investigative steps to rule them out. And to this date, we haven't had any confirmed sightings.
But there have been tips that lead you to other parts of the country that you had to check.
As with any investigation, oftentimes we do get tips that you have to verify that are elsewhere, yes.
You have said that the children were last seen alive the day before. Can you tell me about the nature of that?
So we know they were seen in public.
Please do.
With loved ones the day prior. The specifics aren't being released at this time.
Okay, and so that's the day before, so that's May 1st, but you've specifically asked for video back to April 28th. What's the reason for that?
You know, when you establish a timeline for any investigation, you want to know where these individuals were prior. They may have been in contact with someone that you want to know who that person is. You may see something on that footage that you didn't know about prior to that. You know, we talked about license plates earlier and seeing them from a different angle. You might see someone that's known elsewhere. Maybe it's someone that's known to police. You never know. We really are seeking all investigative avenues in this case.
There have been some complaints that an Amber Alert was not issued. I understand that.
An Amber Alert was not issued because they have no evidence of an abduction. They don't have a car. They don't have much, guys. They've got 3 different stories from Daniel, Knucklehead Daniel. All right. Now, Mike, you say, I can't believe how gullible some are. Same creators put out false info in every case. And that's what we're looking at, Mike. I will not sit there and put down, oh, this guy, Darren, we know that this guy is saying 1,010%. When someone says that, it clicks with me. And when they don't use a real name, it also clicks with me. And that's why we're here, because we're listening to what RCMP says, and then we're listening to what Daniel's saying, and we're listening to what Malehya is not saying, but we're also going to look at text messages. And if those text messages are false, I want to document the crap out of them and say, look at this, look at how false these are. They got doctored. I want to know who's putting out false shit.
The criteria is very specific. Was that considered? Is it still possible?
Absolutely, Kayla. You know, on the day of the incident, I can tell you I was working.
Nope.
I reviewed the policy that morning.
Nope.
We have to have a suspect or a person of interest when it comes to abduction or vehicle. You know, in terms of sending out an alert, when you send an Amber Alert, you want to direct the public to look for a specific vehicle, to look for that license plate, to look for that suspicious person, to have a photo of someone or more information to suggest that there was an abduction. In this case, you know, they are young children, certainly vulnerable people, and a vulnerable person alert was issued.
Does the RCMP know what happened here? Even if you
Really?
can't tell me, do you know?
So what I can tell you is that we're exploring all investigative avenues.
Do you have a case? Are you building a specific case that's leading you in a certain direction?
In this case, the investigation is still being investigated under the Missing Persons Act.
It sort of seems from...
Now, listen, this is why I want to show these things, JDR, because I've been just all about whatever RCMP is saying, whatever I see on the news stations, whatever's the news stations, meaning law enforcement, and what they're saying in the articles from RCMP. My original video that came out, like the second one, was watching Deception Detective show a criming shame with text messages that weren't real. So that's why I want you guys to see these text messages and say, how did they get these? Where did they come from? How did they put them together? And is this real? I know nothing about what you're saying here, and I know nothing about what Marilyn said about the other YouTuber, Joseph Morris, that has false information, calling it an explosive lead. But I do have a voice of Daniel calling into Dolly, telling him that Malehya is essentially on the run. Why is that? Is he throwing shade at her again? That's my whole thing. I say, Jack and Lilly, what is about this is a hoax? Are the children dead? Or is this an escape? Was this an escape from Malehya? And we're going to read the text messages too.
From the last news release that you issued, the reason I'm asking these questions. I read that news release and I thought, I don't think they have any idea what happened here.
You know, when it comes to missing people, it's very complex. It can be very long-term investigations.
And this is not what we want to hear. This guy is not telling us what we want to hear, and that's why we're going to these other YouTube channels that are streaming this stuff for 4 or 5 hours when there's nothing really new, but they're getting people calling in saying X, Y, and Z. Now, I also got to tell you, once we hit 420 likes, we're also going to give a Foxy box away, all right? And then we also have a Bluetooth tumbler, which I've never seen in my life. Just hit the like button so we can get this into the algorithm, and let's put credit. Yeah, we want this. They put out stuff that's not credible, and that's not what we want to do here. We want to dispel the shit that's not credible. We don't want anything to do with that. We want to find the children, in my opinion, dead or alive. We want to bring them home. And that's the stance I work from. That's where I work from at all times. I don't want to hear about hoaxes. I want to hear what's happening in the case. And this guy isn't telling us much.
It can be difficult on first responders, especially when it involves vulnerable people.
Yep.
And we have to be patient.
Yes.
And we have to follow the leads and follow the facts and evidence that we gather to bring us to locating the children.
Does the RCMP think Lilly and Jack could still be alive?
That's a great question, and we want to locate them and find them. And our goal is to investigate every single avenue until we find them.
Is it possible at this point?
That's a great question, and our role is to find them in the evidence surrounding their disappearance.
You mentioned a lot of the tips you're getting. I'm sure you're aware there's extraordinary public interest in this case. Some people are frustrated that the RCMP is not saying more. We understand it's an active investigation. And in some cases, the lack of.
And that's why I'm asking you guys here. I said Malehya responds, text messages, polygraphs. Is this all to escape from Daniel? Now I'm asking you this because that's what he's saying. He's literally saying in his own voice that she, and in text messages supposedly, that she's running from him and trying to get away, and that an angry rabbit. You're right. Daniel is acting like an angry father, fighting dirty because of his custodial rights and CPS. And I'm going to add even further, because this broke international and he knows he's getting 15 minutes of fame and he wants his story to be out there. He doesn't want to look like the fraudster. He wants Malehya to look like she did something. And I'm telling you right now, that's what he's doing. That, in my opinion, that's what he's doing. I don't feel like Daniel's on here for the greater good of the children at all. All right. Again, we don't know. We really don't know. But that's why we're listening to everything. And then we can take it in for ourselves and decide.
Information leads to speculation, and rumors are rampant online. And that's
Yep.
done some harm on the family
Yep.
in this case as well. What, though, would you say to the public who are begging for answers and just want to know what's happened here?
We have to be patient and certainly rely on our news releases and official sources of information. Don't listen to those rumors that are out there. We're putting out those news releases on a regular basis with information pertaining to the investigation. We have to be very cautious as to what type of information we release, because we want to make sure that it doesn't affect the investigation.
I think some people in the public are starting to wonder, is it possible that we may never find out what happened to Lilly and Jack? Is that possible?
I wouldn't be able to answer you that question today, but I can tell you that our investigators are seasoned. They are committed. I've worked with some of them personally prior in my career, and I can tell you that they are committed investigators to this missing children's investigation.
Damn. All right. So what they didn't tell you, what they did tell you was be patient. We're working on it. We can't say much. We didn't put out an Amber Alert. And he says we didn't put out an Amber Alert because he said that they didn't have the evidence. They've said that from the get-go. I'm going to put this up real quick, and I'm going to pull this down. You might not be able to read it, but I'm just going to read these messages to you and give you an idea of what. Okay, now this is from a criming shame. Take it with an ant hill of salt. Whatever you see an ant carrying around, take that. Now they're boldly blasting this on their channel. We've got Shanitra Speaks on the bottom, and we've got a criming shame on top. Now, if you know this for sure, if you can absolutely tell me this is false, please drop that in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and read this stuff and give you an idea. All right. So RCMP said the update is there's not much of an update, but they're still looking and they haven't ruled out it being a crime. That's really what the update is. All right. And you're very welcome. We got to do a recap to know what's going on. Yeah, I carry salt everywhere too. We're going to say this. We're going to say we take it with that. I'm going to read this to you real quick. I'm going to read you what the heck they're saying. I'm going to start on the top left. This is supposedly Malehya. Okay. I want you guys to remember that. Don't take me out of context. Supposedly Malehya. We're going left to right. Malehya talking with her aunt. Okay. So Malehya says, do you believe in your heart that Daniel could hurt them? All right. Top bubble, blue left. I'm sorry, left top bubble. Thursday, 7:25 a.m. on a Thursday. She asks her aunt, do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them? All right. Then her aunt, she responds, I don't know, but he's been acting suspicious and is too worried about what people think of him and not focus on my kids at all. All right. Then she says everything he's doing is odd. And the police advise him to stay away from the media, to stop acting something me. Also, he's tried to stop contacting me, and he's always also tried to steal money from my account through Temu because my card was attached to his account. So everything is not right. Now, main focus right now is to protect Meadow and find my kids. Now, we're going to move to the next one. I see Malehya's name, but the other person that we're talking to, if anybody saw this, I believe it must be the aunt. You can see her down at the bottom. Before I continue, look up, left to right, okay? So these people, these are the text message there, and Malehya is talking to her aunt. They're talking about the children, and now we're seeing Malehya's side, finally. All right, so remember, Malehya's side, supposedly. Take it with a grain of salt, okay? All right. Now, let me, I can't read it unless I zoom way in on my side, all right? So, he's going to stop content. Okay, Daniel has been saying to the YouTubers that he believes you, and she's talking to Malehya, had the kids taken that morning and working and woke him when you came back to bed. So Daniel's telling us YouTubers that, and I'll play it after so you can listen to it. All right. This is the third story Daniel's told. Now the aunt says, the aunt says, let him say whatever he wants. I can't say anything to anyone anymore. And then she says, your lawyer can speak on your behalf. And she says, yes. So Daniel is putting all eyes on you. Seems like it, but I'm not following the media. And I've asked, and I'm assuming she's asked, hold on. I've asked people to respectfully, Malehya saying, not send things to me. And if they feel it is of concern, please send it to the police. All right. Good advice. The truth always comes out. She says, I'm not so sure anymore. Okay. So all this to say, she says another thing that morning. Okay. Woke up, went back to bed. Your grandmother's cousin has been thinking the same thing. He has been on social media. Who are you protecting Meadow from? Oh my effing God. I can't even listen to all that I've heard, all this about CPS. Then the bottom says, call 1-800-822-TIPS if you have any tips. All right. So we got Malehya speaking to her aunt, and basically Shanitra has the same messages as a crying shame. Now we've got Daniel on the bottom towards the left and then the right. Daniel says, yes, she's terrified. Investigators are close. So Daniel's now throwing shade at Malehya in these text messages from Shanitra Speaks. All right. He's saying that she's terrified. Daniel says she only asked for the kid's birth certificate and school pictures and 2 stuffed animals. That's all. Everything Malehya owns is still here at the house. Daniel says she tells reporters to leave and says Malehya is not doing media. Daniel also says they never thought it through. Her family took 2 of my sweaters when they left. Watch them be planted when investigators close in. He's now saying that Malehya is planting evidence and may plant evidence when investigators close in. Close in on what, I ask you? Her family made shit up to CPS. That's what Daniel's saying. Her family thought it was a fun family reunion, no tears. All right, so Daniel's completely talking shit about Malehya and throwing shade at her, and she's talking to her family and throwing shade at him and saying, what's up with him? He wants attention. He's throwing shade at me. I'm not going to talk to the police. All right. So now then we've got another message down at the bottom with Shanitra Speaks. Let me pay attention to chat just in case I froze up or something. All right. I think the bio dad walked away from the kids. It was 2 years ago. He hadn't seen them, and we talked to grandma. All right. Why would you ask for birth certificates? Why would you take his sweaters? And what is he talking about? This case is crazy. Support JM is speaking to Belinda. Belinda is the paternal grandmother. Okay. Malehya is talking to Belinda, the maternal grandmother. And thank you. I appreciate that. Let's keep going. I'm looking at now I'm going to look at the bottom where Shanitra speaks, and we're talking about what Daniel's saying on the bottom. She says, do you have any proof you are a relative? Please. But let me read that, and then we'll get to I'm going to get to Daniel telling the world that Malehya is on the run. All right. So here we go. Right here, the paternal grandma says, I'm assuming this is her now. I would love to believe RCMP. Do you know more? And are covering all possibilities, but my faith is strongly lacking. I know the process which they would have arrived at the decisions they did, but in my opinion, that's what it is. That's what is in need of change. Even if the possibilities were slim of an abduction, the first 24 hours are the most critical. By ruling this option out right away, they already missed the opportunity of possible trafficking. Any alert would be late and kind of pointless. Besides, the word has spread worldwide. Sadly, not just to keep eyes out, for them to state such things as two children together and chances of someone driving by are slim. It's just blatant ignorance, guys. The children were very social and not stranger aware, as stated by parents, and would go with someone willingly, meaning no struggle, no screaming, and yes, most likely together. All right. Not to mention rural areas such as this are targeted areas, and that cuts off. And then it says, do you have any proof? Are you a relative? I think they're talking with the uncle or the aunt. I'm not sure. It's all blocked out. Well, other than you can come over and get a DNA sample, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so it's people trying to figure out if this is a hoax, if these people are in the family, and what the hell is going on. All right, she's under 24-hour surveillance. She's not running anywhere. Now I'm going to bring this to your attention. Now I'm going to show you what Daniel is saying in this freaking clip actually, let me just show you this article, and then I'll show you the clip. All right, or maybe I should go backwards. I don't want you guys to leave without seeing what Daniel's freaking saying to everybody. And this shows me that he's throwing shade at Malehya purposely and trying to get his 15 minutes of fame. So let me remove this, pull this down. I do want to show you this. Now, credible source or not, Daniel is saying this about Malehya on this Dolly interview. And no, it's not clickbait. Daniel's saying this.
We are so close to hitting 69,000 subscribers.
All right. I wish I was. Let's go.
Now let's get into the video.
All right, listen.
All I can say is just wow. For anybody that tuned into my live show last night, Daniel, the father, well, the common law father, Malehya's husband, baby daddy, whatever you want to call him, stopped by the channel last night for a little chat, and he dropped some bombshells. So if you haven't, go make sure you watch my video. It says to search for Jack and Lilly. Daniel stops by for a chat, and then you'll understand what we are talking about here. If you want to see everything that was said by Daniel. But let me give my warnings first.
And this is why and Dolly's going to give his warning. This is Daniel calling in. Why is Malehya texting information to the woman, to her grandma? And why is the grandma sharing that with social media? Now, somebody asked me that this morning. Why in the heck is Deb sharing information with you, Jay? And I say, because they want a certain perspective out in the media. All right, Jennifer, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Catherine, thank you so much for the $5 super chat and saying great show. I didn't forget you guys. And Diamond will say, when the 99-cent super stickers come in, choo choo, that's telling you jump on that train. All right, you guys just hit that like button and we'll get 50 members. All right, BioDad has been gone for at least 2 years. We did an interview with his mom last episode.
First, Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing here as fact. It's just our opinion, people. Completely satire. Now, Daniel came by last night and he said that Malehya is on the run with Meadow and he is really concerned about his daughter, that Malehya has broke the CPS orders of to be supervised with the child when she left her mother's house. Now, where she has went, nobody seems to know. Now, there's been a lot of finger pointing back and forth between Malehya's family and Daniel's family. But now it seems like Daniel is firing back a little bit, and he's pointing towards Malehya may know something in the disappearance.
I love Dolly Vision, but I love Dolly Vision for entertainment purposes. Just what he said. That's why I played that. Absolutely. But part of this case is involved with Daniel, and Daniel goes on there to talk trash about Malehya. Now, is she trying to get away from him? Is that what all this is for? Did she need to do that? Did something happen and they're pulling a hoax on all of us? The children are not alive anymore. All right. Yeah, I've been talking about a lot of sweaters. Is he really worried that he's going to get framed for this? What?
Of Jack and Lilly. When he stopped by the channel last night, he said that he was in and out of consciousness by
hit that like button, guys.
Like 6:17, 6:18 in the morning. Malehya had done signed Jack and Lilly out of school, saying they were going to be absent. Now, he said he fell asleep for about 20 minutes, and he woke up when Malehya was getting back into bed. And then he said, hey, I don't hear the kids. And he got up to check on the kids, and they were gone. Okay, which is just mind-blowing, because it sounds like he's suggesting that Malehya was awake when the kids went missing. Not only that, but he said when they got to fighting and the families got to fighting in the front yard, that, you know, they were pointing the fingers and they were blaming.
Okay, so he's told 3 different stories. The first story was when they initially came out there, law enforcement. Second story, and yeah, of course it's not facts or evidence, but when you have 2 people that you're looking at, and I've always been looking at those 2 people, Daniel and Malehya, because they were the last person supposedly to see the children alive. When you take those, then you have to take what he's saying into account. Now, whether you take it into an account and you use it to arrest him or charge him with fabricating information, I now have counted 3 stories at the very least. And you're right, the more Daniel talks and the more people interject, the more confusing this case gets. All right? Don't forget, I think we have close to 400 likes. We do have 585 people still in chat. So just hit the like button and get a chance to win.
Daniel for what Jack and Lilly going missing. And he said that he went to the command center. And while he was at the command center, Malehya went in and got some stuff, but she took 2 of his sweaters. 2 of his sweaters. Now, he said if they find a crime scene or Jack and Lilly, he's hoping that his sweaters are not there, that they might be planted at a crime scene, which I was like, wow, that's something we haven't heard. But he said that they took 2 sweaters. He went into a lot of detail in this last video, and he was saying that he is going to get in trouble for the things he told me last night with the major crime unit, because some of this stuff they don't went out. But he said he called them and told them that Malehya has done took off with Meadow, and they didn't get directly back to him. Matter of fact, he said they.
All right. So the reason you ask, I see someone asking about the Darren hoaxer guy. That plays into this whole story, because if you believe the story that he's telling, that the kids are perfectly fine on the reservation, then they're perfectly fine. And Malehya did this to get away from Daniel and to keep the kids safe. All right. Monique says, I've said all along, human trafficking is possible. The more this case continues, the more possibilities that they're out there. All right. Now, you guys, that's why we're covering this, to get these things straight in our heads and understand what leads are being called into the investigator and what they have to sort through. What we have to sort through, you think that's a headache? What about them? I feel like Daniel and Malehya are now doing this, and Malehya and Daniel are using social media to point their fingers at each other. Otherwise, how would Malehya's text messages from her paternal grandma and her aunt, how the frick did those get out there to criming shame if they weren't pointing themselves, or unless somebody fabricated the text messages?
They haven't even called him back yet as last night. Now, he believes that the CPS, when they find Meadow, are going to take Meadow away from Malehya, and he believes that Malehya may hurt herself if they take Meadow. Now, it sounds like he's saying that
no, that doesn't happen.
Once Meadow was born, Malehya wasn't as close with the other kids anymore. So she kind of just loved Meadow. And he said that Meadow was her diamond, okay? Her diamond, that it seemed to be like she loved Meadow the most and had kind of put the other kids to the side. Now, there was also some reports that came out about a pink blanket and a boot print that was found in the woods. And it was believed that Daniel had led the police to this boot print and this pink blanket. But he said in the chat last night that Malehya's family actually found this blanket and boot print. And
I'm going to show you that article right after, because Daniel is absolutely, you guys talked about 15 minutes of fame earlier. Yes, he's enjoying the 15 minutes of fame, but why? Why point the finger at Malehya, and why would Malehya be now looking back? And what about those sweaters that he literally has one t-shirt? What about the sweaters? But he has Pokemon cards, DD. And we ask you, Daniel, if you want people to believe your story, don't call Dolly anymore on a live in the middle of the night. Reach out to Deception Detective. He'll be able to clear that. Did you play the audio of Daniel talking to Dolly, or did I miss it? No, it should be in this interview right here, or in this.
They led police to it. It is starting to get a whole lot strange. So I asked him what else was taken from the house, and he said the only thing Malehya wanted was the kids' birth certificates and a couple of stuffed animals. And he told me that those stuffed animals that she took belong to Jack and Lilly.
See?
And that he believes that Jack and Lilly is still alive, and Malehya could have possibly handed these kids off to friends or family members. So it's still really important, guys, to continue to share these photos. And I'm not going to tell you everything because I want you guys to go back and watch my video. It's titled Breaking the Search for Jack.
Yeah, and if you guys like the content that I put out, and you like the content that DD puts out, and you like how we put the two together. Now, DD does these 10 to 12 to 15 minute, sometimes 30-minute clips. I like to incorporate them into an entire episode so that you guys can chat and get out what you want to say about these. Hit the like button. All right, hit the like button for DD. Hit the like button for Guilty of Crime. Let me know. All right, kind of new here. Great work. Jules to Cali. I'm from Cali. Welcome. Let's keep going.
Jack and Lilly. Daniel stops by for a chat. I'm going to tell you how he ends it. He says he talks in the chat room for hours, and he says the last thing he says is him and Meadow will visit Malehya in prison. Okay. So I know what you're thinking. Dolly, how do you know that this was Daniel? So when Daniel came into the chat room, as a YouTube creator, you have an option.
And I'm looking for that chat. I'm surprised he didn't incorporate the two. I have the other one, and I'm certain he was in there for hours. So, but where was the point that he spoke? If somebody has that timestamp, let me know. I have the 55-minute video, but I'm not going to sit here for 55 minutes playing it.
to where you can click on the channel of the person that is in the chat. Okay, it says, like block them, make them a mod, go to their channel. So I go to his channel, and of course, it's his channel. It's the channel that he used for this channel is over 6 years old. Okay, he has videos on it from 5 years ago, and it's him where he's sharing his Pokemon cards. And for anybody that knows, this is his actual physical site. So now, if it is not Daniel, it is definitely somebody using Daniel's YouTube page, which I truly believe it's Daniel, because
he also gave him a wrench to make sure it's him. Now, just because it's him doesn't mean he's not lying. All right. I think Daniel Malehya are pulling a fast one on us. And that's why we ask, is this a freaking hoax? What's the hoax? And where are the children? Are the children alive? Or did Malehya take off and now they're pointing fingers, and the children, they've got them to where they want and they're out of the country or on the reservation where they can't be touched?
Yesterday, we also got a call from some of Malehya's family. Okay. The cousin of Malehya. And he told me that Malehya was on the run. She broke the CPS order. She left her mama's house and she's gone. Now, Daniel also said she don't need a passport because she's part of the First Nation and she can flee and be in the United States. She can cross the border. She can get on an airplane. She could absolutely be anywhere. So as we speak right now, the rumors of this, and this is coming from Daniel and one of Malehya's family members, that she is on the run with Meadow. And Daniel believes she has something to do with the disappearance in Jack and Lilly. So these things are heating up quickly. So you guys, right? There's always some breaking crazy news here on Dolly Vision. And this is where you're hearing it first. So definitely tell me what you think about this in the comment box. And
all right, now if some of you guys were on that chat, I see some people. So I see people standing with Daniel. I see people in the chat over there standing with Daniel. Now, if I could find it, I'll show it to you. I'm going to show you quickly because I need to document this. I want to document everything I can about this case, so when we go back, we can look. So this is the article from RCMP that talks about the polygraphs, the blanket, and the boot print, and it's from RCMP. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. And there's so many people that say they stand with Daniel, but what is it that you're standing with Daniel about? Because I feel like he's changed his story many times, and he's throwing shade at Malehya. So what is it what do you stand with him about? That she did something to the children, that she let the children escape, that she's on the run? I'm not even sure what Daniel is standing with or about, to be honest with you, other than the fact that he's standing for himself, that he's not guilty. All right, so this one I'm going to talk about the blanket, because I want to make sure you guys know from the source what they're saying about the blanket. All right, you seem to believe Darren. Daniel, some people think, but what do you know? That he doesn't know what the hell happened. Then why does he keep saying that he does? Why is he going on Dolly's channel for hours, getting a wrench, and then coming back and talking about it? He just did an interview. He did an interview where he was sitting back, super relaxed. He was sitting there like this with his feet crossed. Yep, it did the polygraph. Yep. About the killing the children, I passed it. Yep. Yeah, I can't say it about Malehya, but yeah, not about Malehya, but yeah, but I don't know. I can't say nothing, but I'm still gonna throw shade at her anyway. That's how I feel like he is. All right. So I'm not with any of them. I am for Jack and Lilly. That's what I'm about. Okay. I'm about bringing them home, whether they're alive or whether they're not. I knew I'd get a laugh at you if I did that, old, like the good old boy talking about, I'm relaxed. I didn't do nothing. I took a polygraph test. We can point over there because I'm a good guy. I collect Pokemon. There you go. All right. So we're not gonna that's where we're gonna go. Let's listen. Let's read. I'm gonna read this to you guys. All right. They're still missing, guys. Right, this is June 19th. This is 4 days ago. Polygraphs, a blanket, and a boot print. New details of the investigation into Nova Scotia children revealed. Nearly a dozen RCMP units are trying to piece together what happened to Jack and Lily Sullivan. All right, and that's what I want to know. All right, so we got Jack over here. If you know nothing about this case, Jack 4, Lily 6, both missing same time. Did you kill Lily and Jack? That was the first question Daniel said he was asked during a polygraph. Here you go. This is him just totally relaxing. I was extremely nervous, he said, which we saw the interview. It's like your stress levels just astronomically through the roof. All right, so we saw that. Let's keep going. Martell offered to take a polygraph. They did it, breaking $150,000 for the information about the disappearance. Now we go back to the morning of May 2nd. 911 called. They revealed that the kids wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station. All right, now I'm going to get farther into it. It says the stepfather is always the prime suspect off the bat, says Martell in a recent interview. All right, about 3 weeks ago, he sat in a large chair and sensory pads placed under his forearms, buttocks, and feet as a part of a polygraph test. He said all the questions were presumptive that the children are no longer alive. Are you an accessory to the red rum of Jack and Lily? None of the questions assumed the children were taken. All right, so that says a lot. They didn't talk about the children being taken. They didn't say, did you orchestrate something for the children to be gone? Was Malehya scared? Do you know why? None of that, according to him. Now, in Canada, polygraph tests are used as an investigation tool as they are here, not admissible in court. Now, Martell was informed the results immediately after, so now he's confident. They said, you did a good job and you passed. All right, let's keep going. Stepfather is one of the 54 people who have been formally interviewed. Some have received polygraphs, although RCMP will not confirm how many. All right, on the first day of the search, listen, here's about the blanket, guys. I don't know why it's been so confusing to get a straight answer. All right, I don't know. Why is it so confusing to get a straight answer about a blanket? And thank you so much. I appreciate you. Super chat for that impression. Y'all, listen, I'm confident here. All right, I'm done reading that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thumbs up, y'all. That's what I want is a thumbs up. Listen, the blanket. Why is it so shady about the blanket? On the first day of the freaking search, urgency responders speaking over a non-encrypted radio channel mentioned a canine unit being dispatched to a blanket. I had never heard that until weeks later. Now, families brought us to the location. They were not far away. That there was a piece of a blanket which Malehya says she believes to belong to her daughter, Lilly, just off the road. An official said over the radio. Martell confirmed that it was a piece of Lily's blanket. There's more evidence than what the public knows, but I can't elaborate, says Martell. All right. He said it was found on Lansdowne Down Road near location of child of the boot print. Now, I know you guys heard of the boot print, but they also found a piece of the blanket near the boot print that was a child size around the same time by the searchers in the area of the pipeline trail. Yes, the searchers, this is not the article, but searchers are saying they think the children are in the woods. All right, now RCMP refused to answer questions about the blanket. However, the force did confirm the boot print was believed to be child size. Asked if anything of significance has been uncovered in course of investigating, and they said there's no evidence to suggest the children were abducted. All right. They also repeated the Mounties have said all along that every missing person is considered suspicious, which we heard again. They said again and again. All right. Investigators have all access to all resources. Over 500 tips, now much more. Whether it's a tip that indicates that there could be something that happened elsewhere in the province or in the country, we have to follow up on all the investigative tips and rule them out. Last time the children were seen was the day before they went missing, when they were caught on surveillance footage with Martell and Malehya, who is the children's mother, and their 1-year-old daughter, Meadow. Martell says the footage from the store near Highland Square in Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Investigators don't see me as part of the disappearance. He said, I know I have nothing to do with any of it. All right. This searcher 3 days ago still believes the children are in the woods. All right. This person says that. And I don't know. Clue sensitive, true clue finder, says Hansen, who was the search manager for 10 operational search periods. We're looking for all evidence of them going through the area. I don't know why they think the children are in the woods. I don't know why they'd say that. We haven't heard anything. Despite the lack of evidence, Hansen still believes the children are in the woods. Now, if the children are in the woods, guys, they're no longer alive. Okay? No longer alive if the children are in the woods. Okay? They're small. They'd be hiding. They would have crawled underneath something. Probably when they got tired, they could have gone further than we searched. There are all kinds of scenarios, unfortunately. Okay, now listen. Martell said he'd like for cadaver dogs, which are trained to pick up the scent of human remains, be brought into the woods. As far as I've heard, there's no plans to bring cadaver dogs in the woods. So what are they saying? RCMP confirmed that cadaver dogs have not been deployed as part of the investigation. Any searches involving the dog will be based on information gathered through ongoing investigation. Hansen said the case has taken on a toll on volunteers. All right. They just want to find the kids and bring them home. So they're more than willing to keep coming back and searching. Unfortunately, at this point, unless someone comes up, we're probably not going back. So they're saying they're done out there searching. They're not taking cadaver dogs. We need justice for Jack and Lily. You're absolutely right. That didn't do anything. This is the episode. I'll see if I can quickly find this guy talking on this episode, but I'm not going to listen to the whole thing.
The truth. His last text, he'll see her in prison, was his last text. Yeah, before he left last night. His last text was him and Meadow would.
Okay, do you see that? Daniel said he'll see her in prison just right off the jump. All right, does RCMP track adoption? I don't know anything about the tribes or any of that. I wish I did, you guys. I wish I knew more about that. I wish I had somebody more boots on the ground. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mint, for the $10 super chat. All right. So a lot of you guys messaged me last night and you said, Jay, Daniel was on Dolly. You need to check this out. So he's talking about that now and what Daniel's saying. I don't know at what point he hops on there. I'll play it for a minute while I'm looking, making sure we're at the right number so we can either gift memberships or show you what we're going to give away.
See her in prison.
He'll see her.
Now it's scary because she has 2 missing kids and now she's basically on the run with the 3rd kid. And we don't want, of course, Meadow to vanish. And look,
that's what I'm saying. Why?
We just had this situation.
Yeah, why?
Where Claire Bell's mom kind of lost her marbles. Okay.
All right, now let's get farther. I want to see if Daniel, when he calls in. All right.
Line the whole conversation. And a ton of you guys
when did he do call-ins, you guys?
Because that's going to let you in on the chaos. Okay. That's going to let you in on the chaos. So let's treat everybody respectful here no matter what. You know what ain't respectful? 317 likes and there's 12.
Hey, that's like mine, guys. There's 600 people in chat and not enough likes. Did anybody that watched this take note of when Daniel called in? Did he call in at the very beginning of the show, or was Dolly on for like the umpteenth hour and he called in? And this is why I came here today. I heard that Malehya was on the run. I heard that Malehya was on the run from Daniel, and I heard Malehya was on the run from the Dillinger / hoaxer / I don't know. Okay, you don't know either. Daniel did not call in. He did call in at some point. There was, I'm pretty sure DC Carey and Deception Detective said that he called in. Dolly gave him a wrench. Now, Carrie, I'm looking at this video. Let me show you what video this is. It literally says, breaking, search for Jack and Lily. Daniel tells all must see. All right. And I heard Dolly say, hey, Daniel called in. I gave him a wrench because I want to make sure it's Daniel and not somebody hoaxing. So this is the 55 minute that says breaking. Daniel tells all. Right. I thought there was a little bit in the clip that he clipped for the 9 minutes, but I don't want to sit here forever wasting y'all's time. Right. You said Daniel left at 3:30, but this is a 55-minute video. So I'm not really able to. Let me play it for a minute. It's talking about the case, but I want to hear Daniel.
1,200 people in the room.
Right,
that means not that kind of worried. And he also says the reason he believes that she left the house.
Okay, so maybe this
is because he would have knew she was lying. He would have knew. He's been around her for years, and you know how you've been around.
And this is why I ask you: is she afraid of Daniel? Did she escape? My name of my episode is Jack and Lilly, a hoax. Malehya responds. I showed you the text messages. I showed you the polygraph video. All this to escape from Daniel. Now Daniel said, "Hey, I'll see you in jail the next time I see you." Okay, so you say so. I've got Tiff saying he didn't call in; he was just in chat. Okay, all right. Well, but I don't have an hour and 34-minute video, Carrie. So if you send me the hour and 34-minute video, I have a 55-minute video that I'm listening here.
Around somebody so long, you know when they're lying, right? So he believes that
listen to
he
what
would have
saying,
knew
though.
she was lying, and that's the reason she wanted to get away from him, so he didn't know. And I can understand that. Like I said, if you're around somebody enough, you know their habits, their patterns, and then of course, like the grandma said, 19 months ago, Malehya acted different. And then, that's around the time that Meadow was born.
Durwood did.
She had no problem taking the kids over there, seeing the grandmother. The biological father hasn't seen the kids in 3 years, but Daniel did say she is scared of the biological father. I don't know. He didn't go into the reasons why, if he was abusive or what it was. He just said that.
Okay, you're right. It was Durwood that called in. That was my Daniel didn't call in. It was Durwood. And I played earlier what he said over a voiceover type of thing. So this one, thank you. You're right. I just want to listen to a little bit more of this, guys. We have 605 people in chat. What the frick is going on in this case? And I know Dolly said, "Hey, I'm fine if you clip some of my stuff and play it." I don't know Dolly personally. I've talked to him a few times. But he's okay with me playing a little bit of this to let you guys know what's happening. And if you go check out his channel, probably over the next week, he's going to be streaming this, and you can get 4 hours at a time of Dolly Vision, right? Some Dolly soap, some Dolly shirts. Let's listen a little bit more before I let go of this. We have almost 400 likes with over 600 people in chat. Do you guys want to win memberships and a freaking Bluetooth? I don't even know what a Bluetooth tumbler is, but I guess you could drink out of a tumbler and listen to music. Hit the like button, guys. Come on.
She's scared of the dead.
Yes, I am. Yes.
So
yes.
Something changed in that, and I believe this was the birth of Meadow. And then once Meadow came into it, like Daniel said, that Meadow was her diamond. She loved Meadow to death, and she slowly started not looking after the other kids the best she could. And that's kind of crazy, but we've seen it with other parents. Leilani Simon, she loved her other 2 kids, right? And treated Quentin Simon absolutely horrible and beat him to death and threw him in a dumpster. So there's somewhere she had this disconnect, with Lilly and Jackie boy is what the grandma calls him. And this is a horrible situation. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. And all we can do is pray for the best that they're right. And it's what she don't realize. Like, if she's hid these kids for whatever godly knows reason, you know, on one of these reservations, or a family member on another reservation, or just a friend, she's going to be in some pretty good trouble. Okay. She may take a little prison trip, even if these kids are alive, if
That's
she's
what I'm
done
saying.
this. Okay. You're talking 12,000 man hours, helicopters. You're talking, they done probably spent $1 million searching for these kids. Debbie says Daniel is Jekyll and
Okay, so I don't need to reiterate what Dolly's saying, but I do have another video that says, does Daniel have a violent streak? And that's what brought me to wonder why the frick Malehya is being quiet. Why is she having text messages? Why is she having text messages? And why is she sharing them with a criming shame? What is going on with this? All right, I'm going to pull Dolly off. Daniel was in chat. I suspect if you guys want to hear him in chat some more, you'll hear about it. But I do want to, so I don't have to go too far in this. I want you to see, does Daniel have a violent streak? And I'm going to play this Mike Damon video real quick and listen to what we're talking about. I think that he is putting the blame on Malehya. Maybe he did have something to do with it, but was he controlling her? Is that why she's acting weird? Is that why she got away and did everything she did? Now, CPS has Meadow, great, but where are the other children?
That keeps coming up is whether or not I think that Daniel may
There's no proof of anything.
A violent streak in him. And my answer is...
Hold on.
Absolutely. Logan's silence when it comes to the topic of the CPS speaks volumes because she is talkative. Logan is a very talkative person. And there are so many instances where she just cannot shut up. She cannot shut up about Malehya's mom. She basically wants to tell us Malehya is not capable of being her own person.
See, that's what I don't understand is why all of these people are interjecting themselves into this case blatantly and publicly and sharing these things. I mean, yeah, you're right, Shorty Pie. But the only way we can get an attention on where Jack and Lilly are is if we get to the source of who is that, the hoaxer guy, and why is he saying the children are alive? And I do like Demand. I know it's Mike Demand, but I do like what he says about this. And he's telling us about the interpersonal relationships and why is that?
She wants to discredit Malehya. Basically, she's just a candle in the wind, doesn't have her own opinion, doesn't have her own mind.
I agree.
All it takes is for mommy to come along, and she changes her mind only based on that, right? Right. Well, this may come from how Daniel could have been treating her. That she saw her as a doormat, a pushover, somebody who's really weak. And when the topic came up...
well, you know how we're going to get to where Jack and Lilly are? What if Malehya really is on the run from him? She did what she did with Meadow. CPS took over, but they have the children on. I mean, is it worth looking into? I mean, if somebody says something in the public and says, I'm 1,000% sure, maybe we should be listening to that initial interview. We didn't hear any of that. You guys, I think you guys were wondering, who's that guy and is he a hoax? This is the Family Insider, and I didn't play this video. How about that? Okay, let's not pay attention to their relationships anymore. Then I hear you, and I'm not going to talk about that. You want to talk about where Jack and Lilly are? How about now?
Kids are safe. The kids are being taken care of.
This is
by Malehya's native people.
An explosive development has shaken the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case.
Right.
A man previously known as Darren O'Grady now reveals himself as Darren Geddes from Trenton, Nova Scotia. And he has come forward on a crime and shame with some...
Okay, so let's listen. This is the original video that came out, and then everybody started jumping on that and saying, I need to talk to this guy. Then he called into Dolly and was getting the attention from Dolly. Here you go. You don't know where Jack and Lily is? Here you go. This is what he's saying.
Sonny Austin and Dolly Vision with Jimmy Williams to declare he is 1,000% certain Jack and Lily are alive and being cared for on a native reservation. Darren, Malehya's second cousin, whose son once worked with Daniel, ran an excavation business in the area for 30 years. His family connection was confirmed by Belinda Gray, the children's paternal grandmother, lending strong credibility to his stunning claims.
People out there, my name is Darren. My first name, my real name is D-A-R-I-N. My last name is Geddes, G-E-D-D-E-S. I'm a Stellarton rat. I was born in Stellarton. I live in Trenton. I'm related to the Patty Allen and the people, my family in Toro. I know the Mackenzie boys, James, Alvin, Earl, Daniel's father. I haven't known Earl. I only spotted him once. I've seen him a few times, but I've known James and Alvin and the rest of them for years.
Darren says he spoke to someone with direct knowledge of the children's whereabouts, but will only name this source if his information is proven false. He's cross-checked this account with other witnesses, reinforcing his belief that it's 1,000% true. This bombshell tip has broken the case.
Again, where are the children? If this is the 1,000% truth, where are the children? Now, I agree, all of your messages are well received, but where are the children? I want to know if the children are alive. What happened? They don't disappear, guys. They don't disappear.
It's wide open, sparking renewed hope for the children's safety and prompting widespread attention.
Oh boy, and I can't say who they are, and I can't really say what they told me, but it's ironclad. It's 1,000% true. Okay. I know exactly what happened to the kid. The kids are alive.
That's a bold
the
statement.
Kids are probably not in Nova Scotia now, but the kids are safe. The kids are being taken care of by, I'm sure, by Malehya's native people. My number one goal, if we could get those kids back alive, that would have been it. Knowing what I found out today through CPS and the information that I found out from this person, and believe me, it's ironclad.
When you have someone saying it's ironclad, I'm going to tell you, this just came out a few days ago. I saw this over the weekend, and then I played the newest RCMP update from today, and they didn't mention any of this. They didn't mention text messages from the mom. They didn't tell us that they found Malehya and took the baby to CPS. They didn't say any of that. Why? That's what I want to know. All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mint. You're awesome. Thank you for the 10 Guilty of Crime memberships, you guys. Thank her for that, because that gives you a chance to win. All right. He told the RCMP and they shrugged his story off. So why is he so sure? And listen to the family relations they're bringing into this now. Everybody's doing this, guys. Grandma's pointing this way. Malehya's pointing this way. Daniel's pointing at her. I mean, he's literally saying, I'll see you in jail. Is he saying that because he's upset because she left or broke up with him? What was going on before? Most important thing, guys, where are Jack and Lily? All right. And the only way to find this out is by sifting through this nonsense, if it's nonsense.
It's 1,000%. The kids are alive. And somebody has them that's taking care of them. Meadow is in custody of CPS, and they're going to decide where Meadow goes. Jack and Lily, I'm telling you, they're alive, and I'm sure they're being protected by the Native community, probably not the Native community in Shubenacadie, and they may not even be in Canada. Now, that's what I know, and there's a big difference between what I know and what I think. So I just told you what I know. If I turn out to be wrong, the source that informed me this afternoon, then I'll fully expose it, because this source is very important, very in the know, very heavy, right in the middle of everything. And I almost said a he or she, and I'm not going to do that. They know everything that happened right from start to finish.
You know what, though? What would you gain out of this by being Daniel's friend and saying something like this? You're telling us, you're telling the whole world, and then, of course, it's going to go to the police department that those children were at the end of the driveway. The police picked up the scent last. Somebody picked them up and probably took them out of the country and are hiding them. What are you getting out of this? What's Daniel getting out of this when I think Daniel is throwing so much shade at Malehya? And you know what? If Daniel has nothing to do with this, then rightfully so. I would be very pissed off if my significant other took my freaking child that I had with them, and then the two other children ran away, didn't talk to me, and then talked mad shit and was like, "Oh, you're single now, motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what they're doing. I feel like they're jabbing at each other publicly, and you've got these family members chiming in and wanting to one up each other. But where are the children? Truth Finder says the children are on the reservation. I agree. All right. And when I told you guys the children, if they're out in the woods, they're no longer alive. People said, Jay, don't say that. Don't say that. We want them to be brought home. So that's why I'm entertaining other ideas, but don't take this as facts, guys. I said that 100 times this show.
I double checked it with other people, other witnesses, other sources.
Darren also suggested Malehya may be grappling with postpartum depression and sought to escape her difficult situation with Daniel, with assistance from a group of girls around her age.
Oh my God, guys, we must have hit 429 likes, and Synth so graciously gifted 50 Guilty of Crime memberships. I don't think I've ever seen 50 memberships gifted on my channel, so thank you. And you're absolutely right. You guys, please thank Synth. I am always on the side of the victim. I stand with Jack and Lilly. I stand with Madeline Soto. Above all, I don't care what relationships or connections that I make with any single person. I stand for the victim. All right. And if the victim has nobody on their side except for me and you guys, that's who I stand with. I don't care who gives me what interview or what. I'm always going to push that aside for the sake of the victim. Yes, I'm going to entertain stuff, but no, I'm not going to just be like, oh, yeah. So, yes, thank you guys for thanking Synth. Let's go.
A young girl. She's very mild-mannered, very impressionable, and she's had a rough go of it.
Thank you.
Not so much with Daniel. Their relationship was a lot better than the relationship they had before. She had a really rough go of it. As far as I'm concerned, she had some damage, she had some PTSD, she had depression, and she probably had postpartum depression. I can't diagnose because I'm a man. But she definitely had some issues. She was a young girl in her situation, wanted out of there, that was looking at it like she just couldn't stand the situation anymore. She just wanted to change her life, okay? But yet she's very soft, very mild-mannered, not aggressive, no real power, no.
All right, so whether I believe this guy or not, you guys, I have been looking into this case and every little single piece. And if the children are harmed and something happened to them, I still believe that the children can be harmed and unalive, and that situation can still be true. Now, whether maybe Daniel and Malehya got into DRUGs together and something happened to the children and Malehya had somebody take them off, or Daniel got rid of them, I still think both about their relationship can be true, and the children could not be alive. Both things can be true at the same time. Both things can't be true if we think that the children are alive, but their relationship is bad. Daniel's not lying, and something has to be in between. But we're here for Jack and Lilly, and when this guy gives us a little bit of hope, I'm hoping that they're still alive.
No real ability to walk out of that totally yourself, okay?
And
then she reached out to family with her complaints, and she had some friends around her that were her age that were semi-related. By semi-related, I mean to in my family and in her heritage, they had a couple different fathers, like stepfathers, and then the native thing came into it, stuff like that. So she had some girls, and they were all girls. I want you to think about a group of young girls trying to get their friend out of trouble. And how stupid they can be, and the young boys can be just as stupid or worse. But I want you to think that Malehya was scared hellish scared, and maybe she had a right to be scared, but I think in a normal situation, if she would have had been a normal person, I think she would have still been very, frightful a little bit, but she wouldn't be frightful to the point of panic and terror attacks, you know what I mean? So I think amongst her friends, some of them coordinated and took it upon themselves to help their friend, and they did it in a...
And I will agree with somebody that said, "You're just fishing, woman." Yes, I am fishing. I'm putting everything together for you guys to see so you don't have to do it yourself. All of this information is what came out, and I'm not going to take it in a negative way. I'm in a wonderful mood. I'm being positive. I'm here for the victims, and everything that you've been seeing all weekend and up until today, I'm putting together for you, and I'm presenting it. All right. And absolutely, we're fishing for facts. We take what doesn't fit and we look at it. That's what investigators do. Right. Thank you. Yeah, we won't stop. I mean, I'm not going to come if tomorrow I don't, you know me, I don't just report every day for no reason. I don't sit there for hours and hours reporting the same crap. But this is the right thing to do for you guys today. I wanted to present you with this information, and you can think for yourselves. We're almost done, by the way.
If they had talked to an old idiot like myself, we might have been able to give them a better way to do that, because what they feared we could have protected her from right off the bat would have been no problem to protect her what she was scared of. And I believe if she would have done it that way and she wanted to separate and walk out, she could have walked out with her kids. She could have walked out peacefully. We could have drove her and take her to, like some of my relatives have a good life, and we could have parked her in there, and some of us would have protected her and watched out for her, and her people would have protected her, helped her financially, would have helped her with the kids, and we could have brought her right along back into a life where she wouldn't have to be scared and she'd be protected.
The plot thickened when Malehya reportedly fled with Meadow on Friday after learning Darren was closing in. Meadow was then removed from her custody for violating a CPS order requiring her to stay with Meadow at her mother's home. Cindy.
All right, so there's little bits of truth inside of this guy's jabbing about blah, 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 blah. He just keeps talking and talking and talking. No validation, just strong words. Trust me, and 1,010%. And then we hear a little bit of what happened to Meadow and CPS. So you got to take what you can take and then make a decision for yourself. All right. Now, unless something really big comes out tomorrow, then we're going to be covering, I think we're going to cover the Ellen Greenberg case, where she did not take her own life, in my opinion, and there's no way she could have. And now that case is back out. So we try to cover a case a day for information that's relevant. All right. Bambi, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. And there was official updates today. Carolina, absolutely. RCMP came out and they told us a whole lot of nothing. But there was also the polygraph and the blanket and the boot article that came out, as well as the RCMP 7-minute statement. So absolutely, you know how I do around here. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, we're almost done with this, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here for the last 2 hours of your life with me. I appreciate that.
Murray's residence. This breach has added another layer to this complex saga.
When she took off to the reservation from Cindy's place, that took it totally out of my hands as far as Meadow and her goes, because then that opened up the door for them to take Meadow, but it also opened up the door for the RCMP to use a lot of leverage on her.
Darren confirms that he shared this critical information with the RCMP, but with Jack and Lilly still unaccounted for, he's frustrated by the authorities' response.
He
chose to go public to draw urgent attention to this potentially case-breaking lead, hoping to accelerate efforts to locate the children.
So I really do hope the RCMP comes in, you guys. I hope that there's repercussions for this nonsense and to focus on things that are not true if it is false. Now, he told this guy, and who knows if it's a lie or not, he told this guy that. He told this guy that it's a truth, and he reached out to RCMP. RCMP didn't say a word about it, all right? And you say Dolly episode has Daniel breaking search. Okay, drops by chat to rest. Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't hear his voice, but I'll let other people dig through that. Amber, you rewatch crew.
Children.
Now I want the cops to move. Don't jerk around. These kids, these kids could be anywhere from a farmhouse outside of Tattamakush to Plattsburgh, New York. These kids could have gone through the big reserve in Ontario. I haven't heard time saying it. The one that borders Canada and the United States. I say 99% the kids are with natives. And I want the cops to move your goddamn fat asses, you sons of bitch. Get on the goddamn move. It's been 7 weeks. You guys have the resources. If you got to break the law, if you got to post some things, whatever you got to do, go find these goddamn kids. And I'm talking about the states too. You know, there's American cops in on this too. So come on, boys.
Guys, I don't like that word. Dolly doesn't like that word. The GD word is not okay with me. I should have caught that. I don't like that. And I heard Dolly talking to this guy and saying, hey, you can use any word, but please don't use that. So I don't want to let you guys know. This dude is probably a Daniel fanboy, but he might get arrested over putting some fabricated BS out there. Yeah, he did. He just called them a bunch of fat asses. Get out. This is crazy. Like, this case is just wild. I want to find Jack and Lilly, guys. I really want to believe that they're still alive, but I don't believe that what this guy is saying. I believe there's bits and pieces of truth just because he's probably read things from RCMP. Yeah, I just don't like that word. Okay, let's finish this up, guys. I don't want to waste anybody's time.
Jesus Christ, if you can't find these kids, nobody can.
The province of Nova Scotia is offering a reward of up to $150,000 for information about the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. If you have any information, call toll-free 1-888-710-9090. Subscribe and leave a comment to stay informed on this compelling.
All right, guys. So that guy, if you guys want, I've never heard of Joseph Morris, but it brought to my attention this guy, and then it hit every other station. All right, so there you go. That's where we are. Jack and Lilly, a hoax of what magnitude? Malehya responds, I showed you the text messages. If they're true, polygraphs have been taken. RCMP has not reported on any of this. I gave you the report, but right now what we can confidently say is Jack and Lilly are still missing. Beth, member for 8 months, find these babies. Yes, please find these babies. Wild case, hashtag find Jack and Lilly. I'm going to even throw out the hashtag while we're at it. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto, right? We're still trying to arrest Jen Soto. I can't let you guys forget that. Chantel, if he did not go to RCMP, I don't believe him. In my opinion, I agree with you. There's no reason for him to come out with this information if he didn't go directly to RCMP. He says he did. He says he didn't get the right response, and so he came to social media. So why doesn't he just get out there and go drive over to where he thinks they are himself? I don't know. I don't know. All right. Yeah. Find all missing children. You know how many cases we cover. Yeah. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Now, all right. I got one other thing I think I wanted to share. Where did you send that post? I'm looking for. Oh, yeah, this post here. I'm just going to quickly share this, guys. I'm going to say this to say this. Hashtag find Jack and Lilly. We're here for Jack and Lilly, period. The relationships of these two people that are pointing at each other are only relevant to find the children, to sift through the clues and see what's happening. Yeah, wild Canadian goose chase. I feel sorry for the families and RCMP that has to dig through this stuff. I hope that they do what they can and get rid of these people talking trash. But these kids are still missing. We're not any bit closer to finding them unless somebody is telling the truth. All right. You said he did go on the reservation and the family caught him. Okay. So we still don't know. All right. Let me do this real quick before we go. I'm going to show you one other thing. I know a lot of you guys have not gone over there yet. Please do go over to this site. It's free. That is, could someone drop the link? I have account.ghost.org and I have the sign up link, you guys. I froze for a moment. Okay, I should be back. All right, so you can go over and sign up for Ghost for free right here, account.ghost.org. Sign up, look for Guilty of Crime, go over there and enter to win a free Bluetooth tumbler. I'm assuming that it's a tumbler that you drink out of and it has a Bluetooth with some speakers. All right. So the 2 crime crew members to purchase a mystery box will get a free Guilty of Crime Bluetooth. And then tomorrow and all week long, we are going to be giving stuff away like we always do. Also, we gave away 50 plus memberships today. So thank you everybody that donated to the channel. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I did get all the new members. Welcome Bambi, April from Illinois, Shannon, Beth for being a member for 8 months and saying find these babies. And we know why we started this channel. Well, we didn't start for this, but we are on this hashtag arrest Jen Soto. All right, guys, go over there and do your due. Yeah, Tech Death Hippie. I love you guys. All of you. Keep going and go. I'm glad Ghost is freaking amazing. I love it. Yes, that is your new True Crime Central for news. And then if you want to go even further with the news and do your own document dive and see videos that you can't see anywhere else, go over there. Rebecca said so. I love you guys. Let's keep this going. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. It's Monday, guys. Go get something to eat. Hang out with your family. That's what I'm going to do. I love you. Thank you all. Thank the mods, everybody that's helped out tonight. And I'll leave on that note. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Love you guys.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?